to be careful. And number 1, Walt's Ghost.
Hey guys, this is my alright, this is a Pixel Gun live stream I'm doing right now. I'm gonna be playing with Skylost Gamer right now. Alright, so let's go.
No doubt trying to stop his workers complaining about the long hours. If I'm still at work, you're still at work. He's been seen in his old apartment above the firehouse on Main Street, in the Disney Gallery, and, rather unglamorously,
here it is. Alright, so let's go.
Square shops. One more creepy story. When in residence at the park, Walt Disney would license certain
We're playing with Skylost Gamer right now.
employees knew he was in and watch their mouth. When the cleaning lady saw the lamp go on one day by itself, that lamp has been left on permanently as a mark of respect for the man who created the happiest and creepiest place on earth. He is always in residence. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Tell us about it in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter here. I'm Adam from whatculture.com, and I'll see you soon.
That's what I'm gonna be doing right now. Here we go.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 shocking
What culture?
Gosh, it's fun to talk. Disneyland is the happiest place on earth, built by people who were probably quite sad that was their job. It's a money-hoovering metropolis of simple ideas, brand recognition, and if you're of a certain age, genuine magic. Disneyland is a bit like sausages. Everyone likes sausages, but unfortunately, once you find out how they're made, suddenly you're...
Wait, can you show me one of your videos? In one of your live streams that you do again? If you do another one.
Top 10 Disneyland secrets they don't want you to know. Number 10. All the sex. So what do you get if you take a lot of young people who have to look like Prince Charmings and Disney princesses all day, make them live together in close proximity and work them very hard and long and hard? Sorry. The answer is you get more banging than a box full of fireworks. Yep, all those cast members you see around the place are, quote, hitting that. Cinderella and Goofy? Hitting that. Captain Hook and Smee? Hitting that. Mickey and Minnie? Actually, they hate each other because Mickey didn't want to hit that and Minnie was like, what? Mickey's more into Pluto? I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Alright, so let's go.
Number 9, the secret speakeasy. Turns out that what keeps Disneyland so happy is the fact that it's really, really hard to get your hands on some booze. Despite the fact that the parks are fully licensed in case of corporate functions, during day-to-day operations, they're almost totally dry. If you need your sweet, sweet beer in Disneyland, you have 2 options. 1, go to the Little Mermaid restaurant, or 2, be rich, famous, or influential enough to become a member of Club 33. Tucked away in New Orleans Square is a secret door decorated.
Alright, so while we wait, I'll be playing.
Located there, and you'll be asked for your name. If you're on the list, you can enter to a Parisian-style dining club and lounge. There, you can order all the booze you like, and it'll only cost you $35,000 for your first year's membership fees. Or perhaps you'd like to part of the team. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Number 8, the underground tunnels. In pretty much every Disney park, there's a world above and the world below. Beneath parks are tunnels, in some case whole labyrinths of them, designed for engineers and cast members to navigate the park quickly in case they need to. See, regular schmoes like you and me, we have to walk around the many twisting paths above, designed to make you walk longer while not travelling that far, making the park feel huge. Cast members, on the other hand, can pop into a tunnel and emerge on the other side of the park in minutes. The idea came about when Walt Disney...
11 scariest.
Alright, hi guys. Hey, let's go.
In the world. Number 11, Pripyat Amusement Park. Like the Six Flags in New Orleans, Pripyat Amusement Park lies abandoned and serves as nothing more than a memory of a terrible incident. Unlike Six Flags, however, Pripyat Amusement Park remains a genuinely dangerous place. Radiation levels in some areas of the park are among the highest in the whole city. It was to be opened on May 1st, 1986 for the annual May Day celebration.
Wait, stop, it was too loud.
Had to be canceled. When, just days before on April 26th, the horrifying Chernobyl disaster occurred. The event released tons of radiation into the surrounding atmosphere. It also resulted in 30 direct deaths and thousands of serious medical problems. The amusement park, and its Ferris wheel in particular, have become a symbol of the catastrophe. Number 10, Nara Dreamland. Erected in 1961 as an answer to America's Disneyland, Near Dreamland in Japan was forced to close after low attendance numbers in 2006. No one ever reused the land or came to dismantle the various rides and attractions, so for over a decade it was in a creepy state of suspended animation. Its parallels to Disneyland were obvious, especially this castle that looked an awful lot like the Sleeping Beauty castle. Merry-go-round horses were stuck mid-gallop, and giant, crazed-looking fiberglass witches stared into the empty street below. Finally, at the end of 2016, a demolition team came and destroyed the vacant park. Number 9. Dogpatch, USA. Opened in 1968, Dogpatch USA in northwest Arkansas enjoyed great commercial success through its first decade. Unfortunately, investors tried unsuccessfully to parlay this into a second park called Marble Falls. The venture's failure spelled financial doom for Dogpatch USA, and the park closed in 1993, falling into a neglected,
Yeah, I can.
A terrifying incident highlights the history of the park since it shut down. In 2005, teenager Pruitt Nance was riding through the park with the owner's permission when he collided with a wire that had been strung between two trees. The incident nearly left the young man decapitated. Nance and his family sued the park's owners. The case would go all the way to the Arkansas Supreme Court, where the judge ruled that the owners had to pay the family hundreds of thousands of dollars in damages. When the park owners didn't pay the judgment, the deed to Dogpatch USA and consequently ownership of the property was given to Pruitt Nance. Number 8. Gulliver's Kingdom. With Mount Fuji rising gracefully in its background, Gulliver's Kingdom in Japan's Yamanashi Prefecture is an impressive sight despite being the location of a failed amusement park. Gulliver's Kingdom was modeled after Jonathan Swift's famous 18th century tale and opened in 1997. Unfortunately, they were financially backed by a bank that would collapse, and as a result, the park closed for good in 2001. What remains today is scary and startling. A 147-foot statue of Gulliver being tied to the ground still exists at the center of the park, a creepy delight for those brave and lucky enough to explore the land. The park is
right after this, I'm gonna play Five Nights at Freddy's.
Suicide Forest lies just miles away, and the former headquarters of a religious cult responsible for 13 deaths in Tokyo is also nearby. Number 7. Camelot Theme Park. Found in Lancashire, England, Camelot Theme Park is riddled with the dismembered mannequins of Camelot knights and looks like something out of a horror movie. Unnerving sights, like this headless mannequin permanently waiting in a green ride carriage, abound throughout Camelot. Popular events like the 2012 Olympics and the Queen's Jubilee caused low visitor numbers, and as a result, the park closed its doors. Many of the rides have been dismantled, but as of April 2016, the Nightmare roller coaster, one of Camelot's most famous rides remained, though it was in a run-down state. Number 6. Galeland. Once a popular tourist attraction, Galeland in Ginpei, South Korea has been closed for the last 5 years. In that time, nature has claimed the land, with vegetation growing unchecked. Roller coasters, swing rides, and bumper cars lie eerily vacant, as if permanently stuck in a not-too-distant past. The highest-reaching parts of roller coasters are the only sections of the park that look operable, but even at these spots, you can see vines creeping upwards. In its day, the park must have been a really fun, memorable place to visit. It lies amongst rolling hills and the not-too-distant outcroppings of a modern city, a fabulous balance. The only thrill-seekers that visit Galeland today, however, are vandals. Number 5. Western Village. Built in 1975, Western Village delighted visitors for over 3 decades with an entire Old West ghost town, replicas of Clint Eastwood, and a giant Mount Rushmore. Its remote location in Nikko, Japan, and the increasing success of Disneyland Tokyo forced the park to close down in 2007. In the last decade, the park has taken on a gloomy, foreboding nature. Wild West scenes seem complete with gambling halls, saloons, and coffee shops, but the closest thing to humans on site are decaying mannequins. Number 4. Six Flags New Orleans. Hurricane Katrina created a path of destruction along the Gulf Coast and infamously caused the New Orleans levees to break, resulting in thousands of lives lost and billions of dollars worth of damage. When the storm finally abated, over 80% of the city was flooded, including Six Flags, the popular theme park located off of Interstate 10. Pre-hurricane plans called for a water park to be built within Six Flags, but instead, Katrina had left it too badly.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
To this day, the park lies in a creepy, abandoned state, a stark reminder of one of the deadliest natural disasters in America's history. Number 3. Disneyland back in the day. Today, you may think of Disneyland more along the lines of the happiest place on earth, as opposed to a scary theme park. But try telling that to this poor child kneeling while being surrounded by terrifying versions of Mickey and Minnie Mouse at Disneyland back in the 1930s.
Wait, and also, if you like and subscribe to me, I'll subscribe to you back.
The madness didn't end there. Just check out these insane versions of Cinderella characters that used to wander around the park. No wonder Cinderella wanted out of her life situation. Check out those creepy masks. No thanks. While Disneylands exist to this day,
I know I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the two people that joined.
Number 2, Chippewa Lake Park. Remarkably, this park, which opened in 1875, stayed active for a century. Originally, Chippewa Lake Park in Ohio was known for its visitors' drunken, loudish behavior, and its retro hand-powered roller coaster that required attendants to drag it back to the top after each trip. Finally, in 1898, a family acquired the property, banned drinking and the sale of alcohol on the premises, and built new mechanical rides. This infusion of money and overall care for the well-being of the park caused it to remain open all the way up to 1978. Newer parks with faster, better rides were opening everywhere, causing Chippewa Lake to shut down permanently. For the next 3 decades, the park would fast.
Wait, has anybody ever played this one yet?
Rusting as nature and the slow march of time
Night 2?
turning it into an unrecognizable, eerie place. Number 1, Spree Park. Built by the communists in Berlin, Spree Park was East Germany's only permanent amusement park, and at its peak, nearly 2 million people visited every year. A slew of terrible accidents, including a crane crashing into a carousel that left 7 dead, led to the park's declining popularity, with only 400,000 visiting in 2001. Finally, in 2002, owner Norbert Witt would abandon the park, which was in financial ruin, leaving its many exciting and often scary attractions to rust. In 2003, Witt would be jailed for 8 years for attempting to smuggle 181 kilos of cocaine in the former flying carpet ride. In its abandoned state, the park was often referred to as one of the scariest around, though recent reports indicate that Spree Park has been completely torn down.
Theme parks can amuse us, leave us in awe, or simply entertain us. However, some attractions may not induce enjoyment, but rather fear. Some parks might leave us scared or creeped out because of a certain ride. I'll be counting down 5 of the creepiest and oldest theme park attractions that you may not have heard of. I'll be excluding creepy rides and attractions from well-known theme parks, such as Disneyland, since those have been mentioned numerous times before. The ones on this list are some of the attractions that are obscure and have left many people feeling uneasy and somewhat disturbed. That said,
I'll play right now.
And let's start this countdown.
Alright.
Tales from the Okefenokee. In 1967, Six Flags Over Georgia had a ride based on Joel Harris's Tales of Uncle Remus and Brer Rabbit. Although the ride did not possess the same name as the book, the ride's animatronics resembled and acted just like the characters in the novel.
And here it is.
Due to copyright issues, the ride had to be called something else other than the Tales of Uncle Remus. It was then decided that Tales from the Okefenokee would be the name of the ride, since the story was set in a swamp like Georgia's Okefenokee wetland. At this time, the animatronics of the ride didn't seem creepy due to their small stature. However, the Kroft brothers, who were well known for their puppet work on rides, redesigned the entire ride between 1967 and 1968. What resulted was a larger, nightmarish version of
I'll join your clan. What's your name? What's your clan name?
Their seats on the fiberglass boat, the ride would take passengers to a large plantation diorama. Here, they were greeted by singing crows, and then led to a
What's your clan
Mr.
name?
Rabbit, Mr. Fox, and Mr. Bear are fishing. Next, passengers were taken to a cave and greeted by an unsettling band of critters. Passengers would then watch Mr. Rabbit get captured by both Mr. Bear and Mr. Fox, while lifelike carrots yelled at the passengers, telling them to save Mr. Rabbit. Towards the end of the ride, they were taken to a nightmarish version of the swamp that had
what's your clan name? I see. I'm gonna join now.
The ride ends by taking passengers to Mr. Rabbit's home, where he is now safe with his family. Although the ride was meant to represent scenes and lovable characters from Joel Harris's book, it failed in doing so. Passengers were exposed to creepy animatronics and a few frightening scenes. By 1981, the ride was remodeled and replaced with another ride called Monster Plantation. Horror Cave. This one was intentionally made to be creepy. Apart from working on the Okefenokee-based ride, the Kroft brothers also worked on a walkthrough attraction called Horror Cave in 1967 at Six Flags Over Georgia. This may explain why some of the characters look creepy from the previously mentioned ride. Horror Cave was based on antiquated horror films like Dracula, Frankenstein, and Creature from the Black Lagoon. Now, I couldn't find any footage of Horror Cave, but I was lucky enough to find some pictures and a detailed recollection by Rod Bennett, who worked on a book that detailed the history of Six Flags. It starts off like this. As you waited in line, you would stand on a red carpet, which was the tongue of a giant face with large moving eyes. This was the entrance. Upon entering the mouth, you would walk near a pond of bubbling water where 3 versions of the Creature of the Black Lagoon would rise. Next, you would walk into a bedroom and watch two men holding a woman's severed head as they laughed like maniacs. Then, you would walk into a scene that resembled Victor Frankenstein's laboratory. The last two scenes were Dracula's home and a bridge with a giant spider beneath it. To exit the haunted house, you had to go on the slide, which seemed pretty fun. Sadly, this creepy attraction closed in the 80s.
Oh, this is
The memory
space.
of this attraction still lives in the minds of those who experienced it. Spelunker Cave. In 1964, Six Flags over Texas had a water-propelled ride that would take
Wait, so it's the
guests
first
into a
one,
cave
right?
inhabited by aliens known as spelunkers. What made this ride eerie was the dark atmosphere guests had to go through as they encountered
Yes,
the
this one?
aliens. The first half of the ride took guests into a neon-illuminated cave where spelunkers would play musical instruments and entertain guests. Later, passengers were taken inside a wrecked sailing ship. At this point, most guests experienced vertigo. While being inside, the ship would rotate and make riders feel as if they're turning upside down. Lastly, guests were taken to an Arctic blizzard and were blasted with snow and cold air. The ride then ends by taking guests out of the cave and back to the theme park.
I have to
This
lose the claim that I'm in right
waterfall ride
now.
closed in 1991. While some may have found the ride to be amusing, others may have not. They may have found the large bulging eyes, the elongated faces, and the human qualities of these creatures to be quite frightening. And that's without mentioning some of the creepy music played during
Alright,
the
I'm
ride.
enjoying you right now.
Noble's Haunted Mansion. In 1917, Henry Noble created a small theme park near his home in Ellisburg, Pennsylvania. The park was fairly small and barely had any rides. The only ride at the time was a small carousel. Everything was going well with Noble's small amusement park until it was hit by the infamous Hurricane Agnes in 1972. The aftermath of the hurricane destroyed much of Noble's theme park. After cleaning up the mess left by the hurricane, the park decided to reopen with a new attraction. This attraction was a dark ride called Haunted Mansion. Upon reopening the park in 1973, guests were awed and terrified by Noble's new attraction. Haunted Mansion tells the story of an archaeologist who was cursed for disturbing the tomb of a mummy. This curse not only affected him, but the house as well. The ride serves as a tour ride and shows guests some of the haunted parts of the house. Guests are first greeted by a wizard researching the mystery of the curse. Then they are taken to meet Ruth, the archaeologist's wife. Later, they are taken to other parts of the house where they encounter bizarre-looking monsters, go through a
Wait,
labyrinth,
which one?
an attic, a rotating barrel, and a dungeon. This part of the ride is the creepiest because of all the bizarre imagery it has. Towards the end of the ride, guests are taken to a jungle where they also encounter a few jump scares and creepy creatures. Unlike the previous attractions that were mentioned, this ride is still open, and it still frightens guests. The Haunted Shack. In 1954, Les and
Wait, so you want me to join
opened up
this
a
one right
haunted
here?
attraction in Knott's Berry Farm. It was a shack based on the mystery spot in Santa Cruz.
Alright,
The shack had
the
many
second
optical
one, yeah.
illusions.
Alright,
Some
okay,
of
I'm
them
gonna join
appeared
now.
to defy the laws of physics. Guests were
Is that the
guided
right
to a
one?
sectional home that belonged to Slanty Sam and Shaky Sadie. Clocks would run sideways, people's heights would change, and chairs were mysteriously stuck to the walls without magnets or nails. In 2000, the haunted shack was taken down for unknown reasons. Many speculate that it was closed because Knott's wanted to attract young adults instead of a younger audience. This required the destruction of family rides, like the haunted shack, to make room for more thrill rides. Although it may not be the creepiest, it is definitely the oldest attraction on this list. It also demonstrates that even the less flashy attractions can be amusing and somewhat unsettling. From creepy animatronics to gravity-defying attractions, these were some of the creepiest and oldest theme park attractions. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you've experienced any attractions that creeped you out, please share them in the comments below. I'm Bizarre Bub, and I'll see you in the next Bizarre Countdown.
Back in February 2016, creepy and weird images of a farm in the U.S. state of Virginia started popping up on the internet. There were pictures of busts of the first 43 presidents of the United States, from the first George Washington to the latest George W. Bush. No blood. Frank Underwood from House of Cards, or Fitzgerald Graham from Scandal, because it would have been even more creepy. Anyhow, it turns out the busts were the remnants of a failed theme park that went bust. When the project went belly up in 2010, its instigator, Howard Hankins, started taking the statues to his 400-acre farm around 10 miles away from the site in Williamsburg. It took him about a week and cost nearly $50,000, since each president weighed around 20,000 pounds. Maybe Taft was a little heavier, but they say it's a glandular problem. Nevertheless, Hankins is hoping to save his statues with a crowdfunding page to help restore the heads and open a new park. The plan is to raise $500,000 so that a new museum can be opened and that everyone can get to see these amazing busts. Some of the 20-foot sculptures are missing
Yeah, I do talk.
parts, like ears and noses. Abraham Lincoln has a gaping hole in the back of his head, which is even more creepy when you think about how he died, right? In his museum,
Make sure to subscribe too. And I've subscribed to you back.
America's First Ladies, and a spy and covert operations center. Let's hope it works.
Okay.
Number 4, Six Flags. As most of you know, Hurricane Katrina ripped through New Orleans, Louisiana over a decade ago, but some parts of the area still look like it happened yesterday. The Six Flags amusement park is one of them. Pictures taken by photographer Seth Lawless show in what a creepy and desolate state the pretty much untouched park has been left in. When he reported back, Lawless said, "You can see where the people would wait in long lines. The roller coasters, the snow cone stands, the souvenir shops, and even the Ferris wheel is still there." Apparently, he even saw an alligator while he was there because the floodwaters brought in the reptiles and they haven't left. Some of them are at least 10 to 12 feet long. Jurassic World, the blockbuster sequel to Jurassic Park, was even filmed there, but a crew of 400 people had to build a new backdrop on the grounds to bring out the modern World meets Jurassic Park feel that they needed. Number 3, Keijanuma Leisureland, Tohoku, Japan. Some people think this theme park is cursed. Why? Well, according to the Japan Times, the fact that it was built next to the site of the Pond of the Ghost Woman, an age-old myth that has freaked out Japanese people for generations, probably hasn't helped, and it might have even contributed to making the place close prematurely. Because when it opened, Keijanuma Leisureland attracted hundreds of thousands of children each year, with its amusement park, its campsite, and its driving range. In the late 1990s, less and less people...
I might do that after this game is over.
2000, Keijanuma shut down. What is left of it is really creepy. It would be a great place to shoot a horror film. Number 2, Happy World. In 1997, some of the Myanmar dictatorship's most powerful men got together for the ribbon-cutting ceremony for a brand new theme park near Yangon City Zoo. They hoped it would distract the population from the tough realities it was living under. The state-controlled media spun the theme park as a, quote, recreation center for the people with world-class modern games, unquote. Flash forward less than 20 years later, the park is invaded by vines and trees that are swallowing the big red roller coaster, the Viking pendulum ship, and so many other dead rides. What's even more sad is that dozens of people are living in the abandoned restaurants and amusement centers on the park's southern edge. You know who those people are? The employees of the park, who lost their jobs when it closed over 3 years ago. When someone tried to find out from the owners why the park had closed, they found their offices were inhabited
I only have
by
one.
hacker
vicious stray dogs. Number 1, the Land of Oz. The Land of Oz was a theme park and museum built at the end of the 1960s in Beach Mountain, North Carolina, and obviously inspired by the Wizard of Oz movie. Sounds like a great idea, right? Entrepreneur Grover Robbins had hoped the theme park would attract families and money to the resort town. And he was right. In the beginning, the park brought in up to 20,000 visitors a day, but the creator never lived to see them because he died of bone cancer 6 months before the park opened. Later, a fire destroyed the Emerald City and part of the museum's collection, including dresses that Judy Garland had worn in the movie. That didn't help park attendance, and 10 years later, the gates closed. In the 1990s, Project Emerald Mountain saw the light, though, when a group of volunteers started slowly restoring the park. While it's still not what it was, tourists can come and go in search of the Emerald City. The park also hosts a 2-day annual festival with a guided tour, a picnic at Dorothy's farmhouse, and for an extra $100, a whirlwind visit from Dorothy herself. No, not Judy Garland. Now that would be really creepy. Looks like these are Will Russell's handprints. Some of the artwork by Will Russell.
Alright, I'm gonna do that right now.
Cape City postcards there.
In the clan,
Oh wow, look at this. These are all postcards.
the clan name is right here.
Breaks my heart, all these postcards just laying here.
Yeah, right here.
Will Russell's office. Fun time selfies. I actually have a fun time selfie. Ringmaster or it's like there's Colonel Sanders in the chair left.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh no, here's the poor clown modeled after the movie. Peavy's Big Adventure. It says face smashed in. Looks like it's actually got mechanical parts there. Here's that poor bear, poor animatronic bear that got left outside. He could be saved.
whiskey. Imagine Will had a few sips of that. Replay. Fire fountain. Oh God. There's still ice cream in there. Ugh. Some of the people actually had their photos taken and the brief time it was open. There's a bottle of liquor left behind. Looks like this is the area that get your old-timey photos taken. People for years have their family pictures here. Hopefully he hadn't been drinking the prop liquor bottles. That's what's left of all the costumes. Looks like that was ransacked fairly heavily. Check out that glittery jacket though.
Alright.
See the paint splattered along here. Still paint all over the parking lot. There's Bill's bare feet. Alright, this area was closed off before while it was open. Here. Oh. It's like torso, maybe part of a wax figure. That was part of the wax figure. And a gorilla with its face torn off. And a super creepy baby with its legs snapped off. It's a map of the old western town. Old ski lift. It's like a cargo ski lift thing. And here we have all the old ski lift chairs. I've actually ridden in this particular ski lift hotel. These bars are so small and not adequately safe. This painting is ancient. They say this is the oldest attraction in Cave City. Right here where you put your feet to have yourself scooped up by the ski lift. Jesse James Museum of Gunfighters. Some cool stuff up there. Check that out. Alright, here at legendary Guntown Mountain Haunted Hotel, one of the oldest haunted attractions in America. Charming Charles is still up there.
Alright, I'll check out your channel.
Handprints, I'm not sure if those are Will Russell's. Oh, there's his head right there. Bloody bags, and there's fingers and chopped up body parts, all sorts of gross stuff.
Alright, send me an invite.
Okay. Alright, this is the old glow in the dark or blacklight mini golf. Ooh. Spooky. There's a hand. Looks like there's been a fire extinguisher discharged right there on the floor. The headless farmer covered in cockroaches. The Lucky Lady Saloon. There's a full-size version up the mountain. Frog in a jar. It's actually got the haunted. There's a Frankenstein head propping it up. I wish I could take that home and let's do it. The Guntown Haunted Hotel, Charmin, Charlie.
Alright, what do you want me to play next?
Scary sound effects. Okay, now this is cool. It says, see the seven-legged calf. There actually used to be, years ago, when it was Guntown Mountain, there was a seven-legged calf. It's like 50 cents to see it. Up in the museum on top of the mountain, but that was not part of Funtown, so I don't know where the seven-legged calf is, but you know, the design was turned into a do not enter sign. It's a ticket of some sort. It's a fortune teller's area. Maybe they had like a palm reader at some point. Very cool. That would be Guntown Mountain Snack Bar. That was broken glass. Looks like there's some abandoned buildings in the woods. They made a petting zoo or something down there? Yeah, this looks like it's a petting zoo or farm area. Some lost part of the original Guntown. That feed here.
Alright, I'm gonna play Pixel Guns after this.
This looks like a scary shack. Someone's been holed up in here drinking Four Loko. It's all this trash. The entire building just shuddered when I stepped in here. September 2005. Feed 'em corn, 50 cents. It's fun to feed pigs milk.
Alright, I'll subscribe to you after this one.
Oh wow. Here we are, Good Lucky Lady Saloon. What's cougar bait? Why is there so much of it? Someone was up here drinking a lot of cougar bait. What's this? Another creepy baby in here. Ugh, something on the counter. It's a wax. This is a wax figure. It's a vampire head. Now someone told me that Will had some of the original props from Interview with a Vampire. This could possibly be one of those. But yeah, that's amazing. Actually, I think that's rubber, not wax. Is that from Pee-wee's Playhouse? It's a bulldog head. Albino catfish. Preserved. And there's Santa. There's a clown. Looks like he rode a tightrope. Looks like that's from Popeye, I think. Guess this is Lestat's mangled corpse. Giant Funtown clown head made by Bill Lilly. He's actually a very talented artist. Okay, head right there. An old barber's chair. Who is that? Jesus Malvado? Oh no. Looks like we have a mangled Santa Claus. Drink all day. It's like an old Christmas moving elf. And a giant green genie head. Looks like there's been a fire extinguisher sprayed everywhere in here. Everything's missing its head. There's a wadded up American flag covered in fire extinguisher head. There's gotta be some way to get up there. Check out that marlin. The dancing chicken machine. Surprise every time. Billy Bob's high quality H2O. Wonder if that is original props from Showbiz Pizza. Look at this. Abandoned moose head. That might actually be on Showbiz Pizza. This. Check this out. Let's see what's in this act cask. Flocked. So there's not a dead body in there. Ah. Okay. Look up here. Got a creepy pink elephant head, an actual lamb's head, and then the creepy blue horse. I actually thought this was a 7-legged cow, Guntown Mountain, but it appears it only has 4 legs. Looks like some sort of dwarf cow, maybe. Still very cool. Wolf's head. More Elvis. Oh, goodness. Ugh. Surprises around every corner. That's horrible. It's horrifying. Look at that. Got naked breasts. Actually, I'm wondering, this may be another one of the props from Interview with a Vampire. Check out this guy. Wow. And we got the Bumble head. Oh. That's John B. from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Alright, I won't pause it. Alright. Wait, did you send me the invite? Wait, send me an invite and I'll join. Yeah, I'll watch your videos after this. I'm about to end this. I am about to end the stream soon. Yeah, after this one, I'm gonna end the stream. Alright, I'm ending this stream right now. So bye. Make sure to like and subscribe if you are new.